Oh, man, that is the last time I go to the Sahara Desert for a while. I've got sand in places I didn't even know you could get sand. Not to mention the ostrich incident. That was pretty fun, though. I could go for something to cool me down. Maybe like an ice cream or... Wait, I've got an idea! Hello, everybody. I'm the Arbiter, and welcome to the Wanderer's Expanse. The tallest mountain on Earth is something of a complex question. But, for now, the highest point above sea level is at the top of Mount Everest in the Himalayas, and that's where we'll be heading to today. I mean, I could just jump right to the top, but where's the fun in that? The reason for Everest's immense height is due to the tectonic activity of India as it collides with Asia. Around 140 million years ago, the landmass of India broke away from the supercontinent Gondwana and began moving at the blistering pace, geologically speaking, of roughly 20 centimeters per year. Look out, India! You're about to crash into Asia! Then, roughly 52 million years ago, it collided with Asia. The collision eventually sealed up the Neotethys Seaway, as well as lifted up a large portion of sediment and material from the sea floor as it did. Today, sea floor rocks dating back hundreds of millions of years make up the peak of Everest. Limestone from the Ordovician makes up the peak, while the so-called yellow band just below it is made from late Middle Cambrian marble and schist. As you start to go up Everest, you may even see evidence of this collision in the form of leucogranite sills. These are just places where igneous rocks have intruded into other rocks. Leucogranites are a type of igneous rock common at continental collision zones, meaning they were once melted in some way, but it seems the jury is still out on how they actually got melted. Today, the height of Everest stands at a massive 8,848.86 meters above sea level, or 29,031.69 feet. For context, most commercial airline flights only fly slightly higher. But you're probably wondering, well, how do you know that? Well, it turns out that determining Everest's height is a bit more difficult than just needing a giant ruler.
Aw, man.
For starters, you could just say it's above sea level. Seems pretty fair, right? But it turns out that sea level isn't exactly consistent, with the tides changing and Earth's spin affecting it too. But even if you cut out all the land and just determined where the water level would be, it still wouldn't be consistent. Oh, don't worry, I'll put this back. This is because Earth's gravity varies just slightly from place to place due to the amount of material in the area, its average density, etc. So if we removed all the land and didn't change the gravity, the oceans would be slightly higher in some places due to the gravity holding more water there. By plotting Earth's gravity, we can find where the water would gather and determine where the water level would sit. This level, or 3D shape, is known as the geoid, and it's one mathematical model used to calculate how tall something really is. However, there are other mountains that are contenders for the tallest on Earth. If we're talking about the tallest mountain from its base to its peak, then the winner isn't actually Everest, but Mauna Kea in Hawaii. The volcanic mountain rises all the way up from the sea floor, with only a portion of it visible above sea level, and beating Everest by around 4,000 feet in total. Furthermore, there's the furthest point from the Earth's center. Since the Earth is spinning, due to centrifugal force, its sides bulge out a little, making Mount Chimborazo in Ecuador the tallest. So as you can see, it's not exactly cut and dry when it comes to the tallest mountain on Earth. But as far as height above the geoid, how do we determine how tall Everest is? The answer, as with many things, is lasers. In 2020, China and Nepal carried out a joint venture to accurately calculate the height of the mountain. The teams used GPS beacons as well as laser leveling using modern versions of the tools used by surveyors in the past, such as the theodolite. A theodolite is basically a tool used for determining the vertical or horizontal angle to something. They come in pretty handy in various fields, such as construction. If you know the distance to something and the angle at which you're viewing it, you're just a hop, skip, and a jump, and a bit of trigonometry, away from knowing how tall it is. Of course, it's a bit more complicated than that, but maybe we can go into that a bit more another day. Mount Everest's height was first noted during the Great Trigonometric Survey of India in the 19th century. It was originally just called Gamma until it was renamed Peak B in 1847, and then later renamed Peak 15. Or Peak XB, I'm not actually sure. After a few more surveys and corrections, the official height was listed as 8,839.8 meters in 1856, only about 9 meters off from the height known today. Pretty good for not having lasers, I guess. The peak was named in honor of former British Survey General of India, Sir George Everest. Wait. Wait, what? In any case, Everest actually didn't want the mountain named after him, feeling that it was important to use local names. But it seems the local names for Everest were either unknown or unconfirmed at the time. Today, some local names include Jumlangma, the Tibetan name, and the Nepali name Sargamata, meaning Goddess Mother of the World and Goddess of the Sky respectively. The first complete ascent of Everest was on May 29, 1953 by Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay, conquering the tallest mountain on Earth for the first time in human history. Sorry, let me just, Although there is some debate about whether a previous expedition in 1924 actually had climbers George Mallory and Andrew Irvine reach the top, but unfortunately they never returned, and the camera that could contain proof of their success has never been found. I'm probably betting on Yeti attack. In any case, the successful 1953 climb saw 320 porters supporting 10 climbers led by Sir John Hunt. Despite coming within 328 feet of the summit, the team was running low on oxygen and wouldn't have been able to continue due to exhaustion and the window of good climbing weather soon closing. And yet, the two men pushed onwards at the risk of their own lives, finally reaching the summit. Edmund Hillary was a mountain climber from New Zealand, and Tenzing Norgay was a member of the Sherpa people. While Sherpa is often used to refer to any mountain guide nowadays, its original meaning was just for the Sherpa people. In the Sherpa language, Sherpa, also Sharwa, is a combination of Shur, meaning east, and Pa or Wa, meaning people or settler. Their ancestors likely came to the modern Sulukhumbu region of Nepal from Tibet around 1533. The Sherpa language doesn't have a strict written language of its own, but it is similar to Tibetan, and is often written in Sambota script. Over the years, the people have maintained their way of life, and spirituality remains an important aspect of climbing Mount Everest, with rituals, offerings, and Buddhist prayer flags often being an important step in climbing the mountain. In fact, according to Hillary, Tenzing Norgay apparently buried some chocolates and sweets after reaching the summit of Everest as a gesture to the gods. I'm sure it was appreciated too, since I'm guessing the goddess Jumlangma has a hard time getting food delivered. Did someone order extra cheese? 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 Yeah. Woohoo! The most common route up Mount Everest starts at base camp and continues up the Khumbu Glacier and the associated icefall. Fun fact, glaciers start out as snow at higher altitudes, but eventually get compacted and slowly flow downhill. They're still solid, just moving slowly. But as they do, the ice flows at different rates in different places, causing huge fissures to form, which can be a dangerous obstacle. Yeah, woohoo! Often, climbers have to use ladders to cross the larger fissures they can't just walk around, clipping into ropes to avoid falling. Other dangers on the mountain include your classic avalanches, as well as seracs, towering structures of ice left behind from where multiple crevices formed or converged. They are extremely dangerous as they can collapse at any. Okay. This isn't actually so bad. Kinda comfy. Just getting to Everest Base Camp can be a bit of a journey. Even though there are multiple places to start from, Everest's remote location means that it'll be a multi-day hike just to get there. Come on, let's get some steps in! Or alternatively, you can just use a helicopter, but where's the fun in that? After you get to base camp, it can be up to another 2 months of climbing and acclimatizing to reach the summit. Acclimatization is a process that allows your body to get used to the conditions at higher altitudes by altering its functions. It's an important step of the process, as at higher altitudes, the lower air density means lower pressure and less oxygen, which can cause a whole host of issues. Interestingly, the exact pathogenic mechanisms for some of these more extreme effects, such as swelling in the lungs and brain from fluid buildup, are not well understood. But after many weeks of climbs, acclimating, moving food and supplies, and of course the lovely death zone. Why do all these places have a death zone? Yeah, apparently oxygen is so low above 8,000 meters that it's impossible to survive without oxygen tanks, yada yada yada. But finally, after all that, you can stand at the top of the world. Well, actually the highest orthometric point above the gravimetric geoid, but you get the idea. You know, there's something about rocks that were once at the dark bottom of the ocean, now sitting atop the highest peak on Earth. It's motivating, I guess. Anyway. Yep, perfect. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed our first adventure here, and if you did, why not subscribe for more? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, I'm not really an expert, but I try to make sure everything presented is as supported as possible by reliable sources. You can find a list of all the places that I visited for information below. As always, I've been your Arbiter, and thanks for visiting the Wanderer's Expanse.